that
good for you.
the people, the Burrs, who in 1929 through the 1930s were promoting that idea, were working for one of the big fat businesses, lard and then vegetable shortening businesses. And when independent researchers checked their claims in the 1940s, they found that what they had done was simply produce a vitamin deficiency, because when an animal is not eating the polyunsaturated fats, which poison the thyroid function, their metabolic rate is about 50% higher than the normal animals. And if they feed them only a normal amount of vitamin and protein, they become nutritionally deficient. So these researchers at the University of Texas lab in the 1940s had been working on vitamin deficiencies, and they recognized that the Burrs had simply produced their vitamin B6 deficiency. And so they gave a fatty acid deficient diet to rats and then gave them extra vitamin B6, and it cured the syndrome. So the whole issue was settled in 1946. But in the 1950s, the nutrition textbooks said that it's a controversial topic whether they're essential or not, because people were still promoting the idea that we need lard or vegetable shortening. And then the industry went through a big change when they discovered that first they had economized on food consumption by pigs and chickens by poisoning their thyroid gland with a chemical that turned out to cause cancer in humans. And so they looked for another way to poison the animal's thyroid so it wouldn't eat so much but would get fat. And what they found was that the polyunsaturated fats, just as the Burrs had demonstrated in 1932, suppress the metabolic rate. And that was when the feeding pigs a diet of essentially pure corn and soy for the polyunsaturated fats took off. Before that, they'd fed them vegetable waste and whey, industrial waste, which was very good for the pigs, but they ate a lot of it and didn't get fat. So
they weren't good for marketing.
Yeah, the agriculture industry found that they could tremendously increase return pounds of pig per pound of food consumed. And since they were at that same time, the paint industry discovered how to turn petroleum into paints and plastics, so they didn't need linseed oil or safflower oil anymore. And so there was this big industry, soy oil and so on, that wanted another market besides feeding pigs and chickens. And so they convinced people to eat their production that they couldn't sell as paint.
And the story continues into 2009.
Yeah, then after 50 years, the original data, which was that the vegetable oils caused softening of the brain and infertility and cancer and so on, that was known in the early 1940s. Finally, that became too public that the essential fatty acids, known as linoleic acid mainly, everyone was catching on that those were carcinogenic and caused heart disease. So about 20 or 30 years ago, there was this gradual change of marketing as the fish industry was being pressured by the Environmental Protection Agency to stop throwing their waste skins and heads and so on in the bays or into landfills because they were causing tremendous pollution. That was when fish oil came on the market.
Goodness.
They were making fish protein out of the skin and heads to sell to Africa as a food supplement.
Oh my gosh.
And the oil spoiled so fast they marketed it for human medical use.